So we're living in a severe shortage of creativity from what I can tell, because these race swaps are sending entertainment straight to hell. Let's discuss. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Beasley here. I hope you all are staying cool, calm, and collected out there. So this topic has been in my notes to do for quite some time now, but I didn't know how I was going to express it to you guys without sounding like an Uncle Ruckus. But one trend that has been bothering me within the entertainment industry is the sheer fact that they will take very prominent white characters and race swap them to either be black or Latino and regurgitate it to us like it's original, creative, innovative, and fresh, but really it's just the same story within a different skin tone. The majority of this has started because of DEI initiatives. Now, what is DEI, you ask? DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity simply showcases people from different ethnic backgrounds, different races, different sexualities, different skin tones, you name it. Equity is all about fair treatment and giving access and opportunities to everybody across the board. And inclusion is simply creating an environment where everybody feels valued, connected, and represented. Now, if you guys know me, Beasley, I like to spar a little bit, so this is definitely going to be a long video today because I have a lot to say. So how did we get here, by the way? Well, DEI kind of stemmed from way back in the 1830s, back in the day where people were doing blackface. White people were doing blackface to represent black people within different entertainment mediums, mainly plays and also television shows. It wasn't until like the 1950s or the 1960s where blackface started to wane and not be used anymore, because that's when everybody, like, quote unquote, woke up and gained like widespread knowledge of racial inequalities. And then it wasn't until the 1970s where we really started to see like black shows. Like, that's when we started to get black sitcoms like The Jeffersons and Good Times, you know, Hanging in a Child Line. And that's when we also started to see like black exploitation films. Now, back then, was the representation always accurate? Not really, but at the same time, we saw it, we liked it, and we loved it. We loved being seen on television. And then we spring into the 1980s, where I feel like that was like the peak beginning of black like entertainment mediums, like music, movies, television, comedy, you name it. Like, black people across the board in entertainment mediums were represented, and we were flourishing and thriving during that time. And then fast forward to the 90s, which I was born in 92, all the way up to the 2000s. Like, that, I can honestly say that was when we had like the best entertainment on display, especially for like television, movies, music, video games, you name it. Like, every single thing was hitting. And then me as a black kid, I never felt like I wasn't included. I always felt like I saw myself in some TV show, or I related to some TV character. Most of them were female. But I loved it because the representation was there, it was real, and it was authentic. Like, I loved it. Everything back in the day was just natural. Like, television, like characters, the way everybody was gelled together, like everybody from different backgrounds, different races, you name it. Like, we all gelled together, and it felt like we all came together and made quality content. But today, in the modern age, I can honestly say in entertainment mediums, it just feels like they're checking off quotas of diversity boxes. Oh, we gotta have this character, we gotta have that character. Make this person black, make this person gay, make this person lame.
Is there a problem, people?
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Prince Eric movie.
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
Maybe we should go a different route than we did with Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, put a chick in it and make her name it gay!
Sure, yeah. Well, let's try that. Again.
Now, before I go all the way in on DEI today, I will say I am a person, as a black gay man, that would benefit from DEI initiatives. I mean, even though I haven't personally benefited from DEI initiatives, like I can't get a job anywhere to save my life, I will say somebody with my archetype of being black, gay, and also lame would benefit from DEI initiatives. Now, is DEI a bad thing? Absolutely not. But I will say, like I said earlier, it just feels inauthentic. Like, it just feels like you literally have Like, it feels like these companies literally have a company watching over them, and they're like, okay, make sure this person is in here, and make sure this person is in there, and make sure this person's disabled, make sure this person is black. Like, it just feels like there's a huge lack of creativity because they're forced to make characters that normally wouldn't be in a certain situation that they're trying to create. Like, y'all, it truly bothers me that today we're in an age where instead of developing and highlighting and showcasing underdeveloped black characters, such as like black superheroes and comic books that haven't gotten the spotlight yet, we're like taking prominent white characters and race swapping them just so they can think that we as black people feel seen, when that doesn't mean a damn thing. It doesn't mean a damn thing to us because literally it's like you're undervaluing us. It's like the execs in Hollywood are like, oh, put a black face on it, it's a go. And we as black people are like, no, we don't want this. Now, I don't speak for every single black person, but I can honestly say I think collectively most of us are tired of seeing these race swap characters. Hollywood is trying to chase this quote unquote modern audience when all they're doing is a modern day version of pandering. Now, I will say this. I have to throw some positivity in the mix, so I did create a list. I did create a list of race swap characters that actually did the damn thing and made sense. Starting off, I want to highlight Michael Clark Duncan, rest in peace. He did the damn thing as the Kingpin in the Daredevil movie. Like, when I tell you, he really brought that character to life. The Kingpin was always portrayed as a big, fat, bald white man, but baby, Michael Clark Duncan did the damn thing. And then we got Brandy and Whitney Houston as Cinderella and the Godmother in Roger Hammerstein's The Cinderella movie. Absolutely loved it. One of the best Disney movies ever made. I mean, I don't know if they consider it Disney, but whatever. It's a Disney princess. Absolutely killed it. Especially with the fact that, like, that story, I mean, the whole entire casting made no sense, but it worked. I mean, like, we had an Asian prince who also had a black mom and Whoopi Goldberg, and then a white dad, and then on top of that, Brandy as Cinderella had a white stepmom with a white sister and a black sister. It didn't make any sense, but the movie just made sense. Then we have Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury. Nick Fury is a popular Marvel character. Nick Fury is dope, but Samuel Jackson really brought that character to life, in my opinion. We have the actress Sissy Stringer, who I think is like biracial. I think she's black and white, but she ended up playing Melina in the god-awful live-action Mortal Kombat reboot movie. Now, granted, that movie was absolutely trash. You guys, I'm a nerd. I'm a big gamer. I love Mortal Kombat. That movie just botched the lore completely. But however, she played my favorite character by the name of Melina, and she killed it. She did a great job in that role. In my opinion, she was the breakout star of the whole entire movie. And lastly, Halle Bailey as Ariel, which, when I first saw it, I was just like, eh. But I will say she did a good job as Ariel. Like, she sang the house down. She looked good. The toys looked good. And then on top of that, I mean, me personally, I didn't like the fact that her mermaid sisters were literally the United Nations, but I was cool with Halle Bailey being Ariel for the most part. But I had to segue into some race swaps that I'm absolutely not cool with. First off, now this one isn't confirmed, but it has been alleged that Michael B. Jordan is going to be casted to play the Hercules movie. Now, like I said, allegedly, but when I first saw that, I literally rolled my eyes because Hercules is a very prominent god in Greek mythology. I love Greek mythology. I never had an issue with the fact that there were never black people in Greek mythology because it's Greek mythology. Now, somebody may argue me down and be like, oh, it's just like a Greek mythology god. What's wrong? African people have their own mythology. Like, why? We don't need a black person in Greek mythology or playing a character, a very prominent character from Greek mythology. But like I said, wasn't confirmed. I let it roll off the back. But what is confirmed is the fact that they are making a live-action Harry Potter TV show. And HBO Max always just be HBO Max. And I feel like they just go so far to the left with their casting because they're getting a actor by the name of Papa Izdu to play, what's his name? Severus Snape. They're getting a black man to allegedly play Severus Snape. Now, granted, he hasn't been casted yet, but they threw that out there, in my opinion, to basically create outrage marketing. If you guys don't follow Harry Potter, Severus Snape is described as someone with sallow skin, a hooked nose, and greasy long black hair. Now, looking at these two in comparison, like look at the material.
Look at the material.
You should be going home
You can
anyway.
be the judge of it.
Now, y'all, I'm not that big into Harry Potter, but I know in the books, I think the Slytherins were described as being white and low-key racist, but there was always diversity in the Harry Potter movies. Like, there was always black students within Harry Potter. Why do we need this character to be race swapped, especially when he has been described in the books and seen in the movies? It's like they're just going against the grain to, like I said, create outrage marketing. Like, millennials, they call us the age of rage. We're living in the age of rage. And in order to get eyes on a project, I feel like these people are just throwing shit out there so that people can, like, get outraged about it, and that's going to create having them, like, eyes glued onto their project to see if they go through the fuckery they're trying to put out. But at the same time, I think we're in that age where people are tired and they're not going to support the mess that they're trying to put out if it's not accurate. Y'all, I'm sorry, like, as a black man that consumes a lot of black content, I mean, really, I like a little bit of everything, but I could honestly say that us as black people, we don't need to be included in everything. Like, you don't need to be seen in everything. And at least make the race swapping make sense. Like, if you had to race swap somebody, like, I would have thought it would have been Hermione. Like, that would have made the most sense, especially with the kinky hair. But I'm irritated with the fact that, like I said earlier, instead of race swapping prominent white characters, why can't we highlight prominent black characters in, like, comic books that haven't been seen on the silver screen? And with that, I've created a list of characters that should be seen on the silver screen, especially when it comes to superhero movies. Like, we're in the age of superhero movies, and Marvel and DC are on a serious decline. Starting off, the character Storm. Storm definitely deserves a standalone origin movie. Like, that would be dope. Storm is one of the best characters ever made in any superhero franchise. Like, people would love and go out in droves to see a Storm origin movie. And on the DC side of things, Cyborg. Cyborg could definitely get a standalone origin movie and a movie showcasing him going into the Teen Titans. One thing about Cyborg, I cannot stand that they have, like, moved mountains to keep him away from the Teen Titans. I just truly don't understand it. Also in DC, Vixen. Vixen is one of my favorite characters. A bad bitch, no less. Like, I would love to see her. Like, you could get a model, like a very beautiful model that can also act to play Vixen. Vixen has some dope ass powers and she looks amazing, especially in the comics. Like, I would love to see, like, a fashion-esque type of, like, superhero movie, like her modeling, but then bam, she has to go fight crime and save the world. I would love to see that. It could literally be The Devil Wears Prada meets DC. And then lastly, we have Static Shock. Now, I remember a while ago, it was reported that Michael B. Jordan was an advocate of trying to get a live-action Static Shock movie made. I cannot understand how DC has truly let that character fall to the wayside. Like, a lot of us grew up with Static Shock. A lot of Hollywood banks on nostalgia. Why not create a live-action Static Shock origin movie? Especially with the fact that Static Shock touched on real-life issues and real-life diversity, DEI issues, basically. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Static Shock had a sidekick. I forgot his name, but he had, like, cyber powers. He was a white boy, and he was Static Shock's best friend. There was an episode where he actually met his parents. Like, Static Shock met his best friend's parents for the first time, and his dad was racist, and they had a whole episode tackling racism. Like, they really touched on real issues back in the day. Like, it didn't matter how young we were, it was a real issue on display. So why not put that issue, that storyline, within the movie, and then bam, there goes your DEI. I feel like these ideas would help DC and Marvel get out of the damn gutter, especially with the fact that Black Panther was a character for the longest that did not get highlighted on the silver screen. And when he got highlighted on the silver screen, it was a magical thing. It was a magical moment. Baby, Marvel cashed the fuck out on Black Panther. I love that movie so much, you guys. I cried. I cried when I saw it. The second movie was beautiful gowns. But Black Panther was a magical moment, and if they were to, like, give these characters I listed, like, standalone movies, I feel like they would at least reach, like, 1/10 of that original Black Panther success. But to transition, I will say that movies and television isn't the only thing that it has been plagued with these race-swapped characters. Like, this whole entire fake inclusion, forced inclusion type of thing that they're trying to implement, because it's hit the gaming industry hard, you guys. Like, I can honestly say, with me, I'm very, very tapped into the gaming side of things, the gaming side of the industry, and also the gaming side of YouTube. I've been gaming since I was the age of 5, and I can honestly say that today, gaming has become a bunch of bullshit. Like, we're literally living in a day and age where the people that make these games hate the people that buy and play these games. But I'm gonna try to stay on topic because I can go into a whole entire spiral with video gaming. But I want to talk about this whole entire situation with the franchise Assassin's Creed. If you guys don't know what Assassin's Creed is a gaming franchise where you play as an assassin in like a certain time period of history. I was a big fan of the franchise, but I will say around like Assassin's Creed Revelations, that's when I had to part ways because it just devolved into a bunch of bullshit. But I will say for the longest, us fans of this franchise have been clamoring for them to do a timepiece, a time period video game where they're in Japan and you get to play as a ninja. So fast forward up into this year, they announced that they're doing that. But what do? They make the main character black and they make the main character lame. So the thing is, you guys finally give us what we want. Like, we're playing as an assassin, a ninja assassin in Tokyo, Japan, way back in the day. But you make the character black and low-key gay. Baby, when I tell you the backlash was tried and true because Ubisoft, the people that create Assassin's Creed, is about to be through. Like, we're not playing anymore with this bullshit. Like, nobody asked for this. Like, us as black people, we're not appeased by this. Like, no, we don't agree with this. Like, I literally looked at that video game trailer where they have him fighting to, like, Asian-inspired rap music, and it's just like nobody asked for this.
I've been informed that they showed off Yasuke gameplay today in Assassin's Creed Shadows, and that when he fights, there is a hip-hop soundtrack only for him.
I saw it, but I didn't really see it.
Greed cannot rule this village. Not while I have breath in my lungs and a blade in my hand.
I said kill him.
Brought to you by... You get in a car with them, they turn on the hip-hop channel, and then they look at you. This one's for you.
Now granted, the people say that the character of Yasuke, that's the man's name, is historically accurate, but he wasn't like a ninja assassin. Were there black people in Japan way back in the day? Probably, but I can guarantee you that he didn't need to be the main protagonist in an Asian story. Like, you're literally taking like a Japanese story but putting like a black face on it. Like, nobody asked for this. And this leads me to something that I hate to admit, but there is an agenda against white people within the entertainment industry. Now, a lot of y'all may not want to admit it. A lot of y'all may not want to see it because me as a black man, I didn't want to see it. But there is a white erasure agenda going on where they're literally getting rid of like let's say you would have like an animated character that's white in the like its original entertainment medium, like its original show and video game, but when you make a live action adaptation of it, you make that character either like mixed race, racially ambiguous, or you make them flat out black. And this leads me to talking about the actress by the name of Nico Parker. Now, if you guys don't know who Nico Parker is, she's a very young, up-and-coming, talented actress. But part of the reason of where she got to where she is because she is a nepotism baby. She is the daughter of the actress Thandie Newton, and also her dad is Al Parker or Ol Parker. I don't know how you say his name, but he is also a producer within the entertainment industry. And she has had 2 very big roles, but both of them were race-swapped characters. The first time I ever saw her, she played the character by the name of Sarah Miller from this video game franchise called The Last of Us. You know, last year they made a live-action TV show version of it, which I absolutely loved. And she played the character Joel's daughter, Sarah. Sarah in the video game was a little white girl with blonde hair and blue eyes. Now granted, when I saw this, I kind of just shook my head a little bit, but at the same time, I wasn't too butthurt about it because her character is literally only in the very beginning of the show, of the video game, and then she passes away and you don't ever see her again. And then on top of that, I gotta give it to her because Nico Parker did a great job with the acting. But fast forward today, they're making a live action version of How to Train a Dragon, and she's going to be playing the character of Astrid Hofferson, who in the original like Nickelodeon show was a white girl with blonde hair and blue eyes. When I saw that, I'm just like, 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strikes you're out. Great actress. She's doing the damn thing. She's young. She's killing it. But at the same time, it's just like, Hollywood, I see what you're trying to do. Now, I will say there are going to be some black people that hop in the comments and be like, well, why do you have an issue with this? Like, we never see black characters at all. Like, this is how we were able to be seen. But I have to ask you guys, like, how would you feel if a character was originally black and they were race swapped to be a whole entire different race? You would feel some type of way. I know I sure did. I'll never forget when the video game Mortal Kombat X came out, they had a race swapped character in the name of Tanya. Now, Tanya came to the scene in Mortal Kombat 4. Literally, Tanya and Jade were the first black female characters I ever saw in video games. Tanya, in my opinion, was always of like a darker skin tone than Jade. Like, she looked more of a black woman versus Jade always looked like she was mixed. Tanya, to me, had darker skin and she was always stunningly gorgeous. But when it came to Mortal Kombat X, in the story mode, they turned her into a mixed race, racially ambiguous white/Arabic woman.
You are the Edenian, Tanya.
I'm pleased you remember me, Koatai.
I will never forget those who freed Melina.
She vowed to create a free Edenia, something you refused to do.
A united Outworld stands strong against its enemies.
It will never be united under your rule.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was immensely pissed. Absolutely pissed to a point where like I barely even wanted to finish the game. But I think there was a little chunk of backlash back then because when they made Mortal Kombat, when they made some DLC for the game, when they made Tanya a playable character, they reverted her back to her original skin tone and her white glowing eyes. Like, she looked like herself in like previous games. So you can kind of tell that a lot of people, namely black people that are Mortal Kombat fans, were pissed that their one black character, the one black female character, was race swapped. In my opinion, it feels bad when a character that represented you is race swapped. Like, you would feel some type of way. And it's getting to a point where this industry is literally trying to fight discrimination with more discrimination. Like, where do we do that at? But I'm gonna wrap this up because this video got a little long. Y'all, we need to get back to a point where we are including characters that makes sense in the entertainment medium that they're put in, not just to check a diversity box and to meet a quota so they can get extra funding from like ESG companies and all that. Like, it's just very inauthentic. Like, I don't like being pandered to. Anytime I'm being pandered to in any form of entertainment medium with the content, I instantly reject it. Like I said, I'm all for inclusion, but I hate when it's forced. Like, black people don't need to be seen in every single story. Gay people don't need to be a part of every single story. We don't need a black Tinkerbell. Like, we need stuff that is going to make sense and have that character be more than just a black person and more than just a gay person. Like, I'm sick of it. Bring back originality and authenticity. But yeah, y'all, that was my little rant. I am just so sick of these race swap characters. If you're going to like make a character black, then make it make sense. But those are my views. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to come back at you guys with some more content.